Hey, so what's happening today? I mean, I'm going to put some holes in the van, obviously. That seems to happen every day. So I had to make a hole here for the mains hookup. That's what that looks like. Had to make a hole here for the water heater flue. Had to make a hole here for the fresh water tank filler. And to make a hole here for the propane tank filler. I've made a hole here for a gas drop vent for the fridge. I've got another gas drop vent here for the air heater and my water heater. The one at the back there for the kitchen appliances, and then you'll also see another hole there, which is my sink drain hole. Malaga Heatsource 2000. You'll see two more holes there. So lots of holes in the van. So we'll start off by looking at the hole that I cut for the water heater flue. So yesterday I installed this, which is the flue for this, which is the water heater. So it's a propane water heater that runs on propane and holds up to 13 litres of water. And you can also, when the van's hooked up to the mains, you can also plug it into mains and run off electricity. So that is the Propex Malaga 5E. I will put a link down below. I'm going to just build a little frame for that to sit on, and then it just slides in there. The water heater came with a template to use for cutting out the exhaust flue. So it was just a matter of figuring out where that needed to go, and I had to raise the water heater up a little bit so that it didn't clash with the plastic trim on the outside of the van, and also making sure that I had the flue mounted on a flat section of the van panelling. I then used 10mm drill bits to cut holes in each of the corners, and then used a jigsaw to cut in between the holes to create a rectangle. It's worth mentioning that there are different blades, different jigsaw blades for cutting wood and metal, so make sure you've got yourself a metal jigsaw blade, otherwise you're going to blunt your wood blade and end up with not a very clean cut. Another tool that would have been good to use here is the reciprocating shears. They give a really clean cut and don't produce any swarf. The only downside to those is that you need to create a larger hole to start with to get the shears in. So a 10mm drill bit wouldn't have done the job. I would have needed to use a hole saw. So after filing down any sharp edges, I just cut some timber to make a frame that I would screw the flue to. So basically, rather than just having self-tapping screws going into the sheet metal of the van panel, they would also go through into the timber. If you're fitting one of these to your van, just be super careful when you're tightening up the screws on the plastic cover on the outside. I was using an electric screwdriver on the lowest torque setting, and I still managed to crack the plastic. So just be really careful. That was a bit of a pain because I then had to take it all off and glue it. So yeah, just a top tip for you there. Okay, now let's move on and have a look at the water filler cap. This here is my 70 litre Fiamma water tank. So I'm just sort of
lining it up where I'm going to have that, and I'm just deciding how I want to orientate it, whether I want these bits this side or that side, because I want to access this cap here, so I can clean the tank out. And then I will be installing this thing, so let me just get the other bit. So it's just a locking filler cap for the water, so that I'll fit that to the outside of the van. I'll line that up so it'll go something like that, and then I've got a filler pipe which is down here. This is my filler pipe. So yeah, installing that today. So here's another handy use for these extendable support struts that I've got. I'm just fitting this backing plate, so this is where my water filler cap is going to go, and I'm just fitting this backing plate here so screws will come through the metal body and through this wood. Obviously I can't quite reach around to hold that in place. I haven't got another person here, so I'm just using these extendable struts to hold that in place. Money well spent. Moving on to the propane tank filler. Two more holes here. One for the propane tank filler. So let me just poke that through the hole so you can see. Hopefully that light's a bit better and you can see that. So that's the propane tank filler hose. Comes up through the floor, and then there'll be a nozzle on the side of the van. So I need to cut another hole in the side of the van here. And then that's how I fill the tank from the outside. And then this second hole here, that will be the sink drain pipe that goes down through there. I was concerned about the gas filler pipe chafing on the metal floor of the van, so I just fitted a plastic pipe fitting to guide the filler pipe through the hole in the floor. Once I'd made all of the holes on the inside of the van, I was then ready to make the hole for the plastic cap or bayonet fitting in the side of the van. So I did this by just making a hole with a hole saw. You can see that I had a bit of trouble here, and the centre drill bit of the arbor actually snapped off, causing the hole saw to spiral off and make a load of marks in the bodywork. So we'll have to get those dressed out and it painted over properly. You can see that I'm had to do a lot of filing because I didn't quite have the right sized hole saw. I'd just recommend go out and buy the right sized hole saw for what you need. It's just not worth it for the time that it takes to file a hole to size. You'll also notice that on all of the holes that I've cut on the van, I'm just applying some white hammerite metal paint to stop it going rusty. Moving on to gas drop vents. Yeah, I'm just going to fit some of these gas drop vents. So you just drill a hole, big hole in the floor, put that in. So I'm going to have one over there in between or near to the heater and the water heater. I'll put one down here because my stove and hob is going to be over here, and then I'm going to put one underneath the fridge as well, just in case there's any gases or anything released from that. So it's a pretty straightforward process. I'm effectively drilling a pilot hole and then leaving the drill in that hole, then going outside the van, looking underneath the van to check that that hole has come through where I expected it to. Then if it has, use a hole saw to cut a larger hole in that position, and then file the hole as necessary just to remove any sharp edges or get it exactly to size. Here's a tool that I found really useful for doing this job, and it's called an abrasive flap wheel, and yeah, just great for making holes slightly larger. And finally, the last set of holes that I made were for the air heater intake and exhaust. Holes here. So these are for the air heater, the gas air heater, which is this thing. So we've got combustion air inlet and combustion air exhaust. So this thing will sit in there like that, and then pipes attach to those spigots and lead to the outside of the van. So that's going to be there, the water heater's there.
The process for cutting holes for the air heater, very similar to all the other holes that I've cut, and Propex very kindly provide the Heatsource 2000 with a template for the holes that you need to cut. So once you've got it into the position that it needs to be in, and you need to make sure that you don't interfere with the box sections of the chassis underneath the van, so you do need to get underneath and have a look at where your drill bits are coming through. Yeah, once you've positioned it, it's very straightforward. Thanks for watching. If you haven't done so already, don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps with the channel growth, so yeah, please make sure that you do that. I'm going to be releasing a video every Monday from now on. There you go, I've said it, so it's got to happen. I had a few issues recently, which is why this video is delayed in coming out. My external hard drive corrupted, my laptop hard drive corrupted, and I cracked the screen on my phone, which I record everything on. So a few minor hiccups, but everything is fixed now, and we're back on track. So lots more videos coming soon.